The skies above Vathra's capital were a swirl of violet clouds and golden light, a beauty only possible on an alien world untouched by human hands. Beneath those skies, an uneasy alliance was being tested. For the first time in centuries, humans and the Vathrans, the towering luminous-skinned species who ruled much of the galaxy, sat at the same table. Their histories were soaked in blood. Wars had raged, treaties had failed, and trust was a word neither race dared to speak aloud. But the possibility of peace shimmered faintly, fragile as glass. Prince Commander Adrian Cole, decorated human soldier turned diplomat, stood at the heart of it. He had not volunteered for this mission. It had been thrust upon him by Earth's High Council, his reputation for discipline and courage making him the ideal figurehead. But Adrian knew the truth. He was not here as a diplomat. He was here as leverage, a symbol of humanity's willingness to kneel if it meant survival. The Vathran royal court watched him with cold curiosity. Their queen, Sarilith, sat upon a throne of crystalline metal, her presence filling the vast chamber. Beside her, cloaked in silks that shimmered like starlight, stood Princess Kalira. From the moment Adrian's gaze brushed hers, the air seemed to shift. She was unlike any being he had ever seen, tall, graceful, with luminous markings that traced her cheeks like silver constellations. Her eyes, glowing softly with a shade of blue unknown to humans, fixed on him with an intensity that made his heart falter. The negotiations dragged for hours. Talks of trade, borders, reparations. Adrian spoke when asked, careful, measured. Yet every time he glanced toward the dais, Kalira was watching him. Not with disdain as many of the others did, but with something he could not name. Curiosity. Hunger. When the court adjourned, Adrian bowed stiffly and turned to leave. But a voice stopped him. Soft, melodic. Human, Kalira called, her tone sharp enough to cut. Remain. The chamber froze. Even Queen Sarilith raised an elegant brow. Adrian turned back slowly, meeting the princess's gaze. She stood now, tall and radiant, her silks whispering against the floor as she descended the dais. Every Vathran noble watched in stunned silence. She stopped before him, studying his face as though it were a puzzle only she could solve. Then, with a voice that carried across the chamber, she declared, "Mother, I want this human." Gasps rippled through the court. Adrian's blood ran cold. The middle. Forbidden desire. Adrian expected death, or at the very least imprisonment. But to his shock, Queen Sarilith only regarded her daughter with narrowed eyes. "You speak rashly, Kalira," the queen said. "Humans are fragile. Beneath us. Why would you claim one?" Kalira's chin lifted proudly. "Because he is not beneath me. He is mine." The court erupted in whispers, scandal blooming like wildfire. Adrian could barely breathe. He was a soldier trained for war, not a pawn in royal games. But he knew enough of politics to recognize danger when he stood in its shadow. One wrong word and he would ignite a war between their people. "I serve only as an envoy," Adrian said carefully, bowing. "I belong to no one." Kalira's eyes burned into his. Not yet. From that day forward, Adrian was no longer free. He was kept within the royal palace, ostensibly for his safety. Guards followed his every step. Courtiers sneered at him, whispering of the princess's madness. But Kalira came to him daily, unafraid of the scandal her interest stirred. At first, their conversations were brittle, sharp as blades. She challenged him on humanity's wars, its greed, its short-lived nature. He countered with tales of resilience, of art, of sacrifice. Slowly, the fire between them shifted. Curiosity became fascination. Fascination became something deeper. One evening, she brought him to the palace gardens, a place where luminous flowers glowed like stars and silver fountains whispered secrets. "Do you know why I chose you?" she asked. Adrian shook his head. "You hardly know me." Her eyes softened. "That is why. My whole life I have been surrounded by Vaithrans who bow, who flatter, who cower. But you stand unbroken in a hall that despises you. You speak truth even when it cuts. You look at me not as a princess, but as a woman." Her hand, warm and glowing faintly, brushed his cheek. Adrian's breath caught. He should have pulled away. He should have remembered his duty. Instead, he whispered, "And what if I see more than a woman? What if I see someone I cannot have?" Kilira's lips curved in a defiant smile. "Then you are already mine." Their kiss was forbidden, reckless, and inevitable. The conflict, the queen's wrath. It did not remain secret for long. Queen Serelith discovered them, her wrath shaking the palace to its foundations. "You shame your bloodline," she thundered, her voice reverberating through the crystalline halls. "A princess of Vaithra does not debase herself with a human." Kilira stood tall, unflinching before her mother's fury. "This is my choice." Serelith's eyes blazed. "Your choice endangers everything. Our people will see it as weakness. Humanity will see it as leverage. I forbid it." But Kilira did not bow. "Then I defy you." The queen's gaze turned upon Adrian. Cold. Final. "He dies." Kilira moved instantly, placing herself between her mother and the man she had chosen. "If he dies, then I will never forgive you. You will lose me forever." Silence fell. For the first time in her reign, Serelith hesitated. She had faced assassins, rebellions, wars, but never her own daughter's rebellion. Finally she spoke, her voice like a blade wrapped in silk. "If you wish to keep him, then prove he is worthy. He will undergo the trial of the bond." Adrian frowned. "What trial?" The queen's lips curved in a cruel smile. "A test no human has ever survived. The trial of the bond." The trial was held in the Cavern of Echoes, deep beneath the palace. Legends whispered it was a place where minds and souls were laid bare. Adrian entered the chamber alone. The walls pulsed with alien light, and a strange energy hummed through his veins. Suddenly, visions swarmed him, memories twisted and magnified. The screams of comrades he had lost in war. The faces of civilians killed by his orders. The crushing weight of every failure. The trial was not of strength, but of truth. The energy of the cavern tore at him, demanding he break. He fell to his knees, gasping, haunted by shadows of guilt. But then he heard her voice. Kilira, faint but clear, echoing in his mind. "Do not yield. You are more than your scars. You are mine as I am yours." With a roar, Adrian forced himself upright, facing the storm of memories. "Yes, I have failed. Yes, I carry blood on my hands. But I will not let it define me. I will not let it take her from me." The visions shattered. The cavern grew still. When he emerged, scarred but unbroken, Kilira ran to him. Tears glimmered in her glowing eyes as she embraced him. The queen, watching from above, said nothing for a long moment. Last she rose. "You live," she said, her voice unreadable. "Perhaps. You are more than I thought." The ending, a choice that changed worlds. The court remained divided. Many still whispered of scandal, of weakness, of betrayal. But Queen Serelith, bound by her own command, could not deny the outcome of the trial.